There's estimated to be hundreds of billions of galaxies within the known universe. But we're starting to understand, at least the infinite possibilities that are going on in the universe. An image like this starts to allow us to at least imagine, correct?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
What's out there?
I think these kinds of images, they inspire people to wonder. They sort of speak to a universal truth of, that we all are part of this. We look up and we see these things. They're bigger than us, but we're also a part of this. And an image like this is just mind-boggling. This star down in the corner is most likely a nearby star in the Milky Way, but that's the only thing that is within our Milky Way in the image. Everything else here, this is like a tiny patch of the sky that you're looking at with a telescope, and you're letting it sit there and integrate light over and over for a very long period of time, and you're pulling out all these galaxies. Most of the bright points in this are galaxies.
And it's just one focal point out into the universe of,
right.
It's like, this is going
like
on everywhere,
exactly.
everywhere. And then, so when you make these discoveries, and certainly we've been finding more and more as we go along, like, how does that make you feel, like, in your dedication to your craft and everything, like that the universe is so infinite that we'll perhaps never fully understand it?
This is really what got me into astronomy in the beginning, was like images. I can't say like these because when I was a kid they didn't have images like these. Hubble was launched in 1990, so we didn't really get to this kind of detail in astronomical images until that point. But I do remember seeing the first images from Hubble after the mirrors were fixed and just being completely awestruck. And I'd always had an interest in astronomy, but that just like did it for me, and I knew that that's the direction I wanted to go.
And then the fourth image that we have over here, you have a 2D representation of the image.
So this is Cassiopeia A. This was actually the first object that Chandra looked at after it was launched, the first light image. And in that image, it made a discovery. This white dot in the center here is actually a neutron star that was theorized to exist. This object had been known to exist before Chandra looked at it, but we never knew that the neutron star was there or not. And Chandra discovered that in its first image. And then we went back and we've looked at this many, many times since then. Chandra's been in orbit now going on 17 years. So we have something like 14 days worth of data, of integration time on Cass A. It's 11,000 light years away, so this is one where I actually do know the distance to it. It's 10 light years across. And the colors here, this is all X-ray as opposed to these images, which are combinations, multi-wavelength images. This one is just pure X-ray. And the colors in it actually come from, so there is a certain ordering to the way colors go in these images. And what we like to do is follow a chromatic ordering. So we take the X-ray data that spans many energies of X-rays and break it down into low energy, medium energy, and high energy, and then assign those channels colors. So you get red, green, and blue. And when you combine those together, you get the full spectrum of light. And that's what you get when you combine this image that way with low, medium, and high energy.
So you're kind of like an intergalactic art director in a sense.
In a sense, yeah.
How does that make you feel?
I feel like there is a certain power there to be able to take this data that is just black and white and give it some kind of color that then informs the scientific interpretation of what's going on in this image. This is an exploded star, and if you've ever watched Mythbusters and you've seen those slow motions of explosions, right? You see this like shock wave move out,
yeah.
And it's really cool to see that. Well, that's what this blue is all the way around this object. That's a shock wave expanding out into space.
Do you love what you do, and why do you love it?
I love what I do. I love having the opportunity to work on things like this, to make these images. Like I said before, I feel like I'm contributing in a real concrete way to inspiring other people to be interested in space and astronomy. I'm working on a project right now to help middle school children understand the way that we focus X-rays with a telescope. So it pulls everything together. So I just feel really fortunate to be able to do all that stuff with my job.
Well, we thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thanks for bringing me in.
Thanks again, Joe.
Thanks, Chris.